Hey everyone, it's Elise. Welcome back to my channel where I like to talk about all things personal finance. And this video is an update on how my Florida Condo Association is handling the kitchen damage that they have admitted to being at fault for. The first video came out because I had damage mid-May with some reflux going on in my kitchen from the central pipe. This is something that I have been dealing with for 6 months at this point of this second video that I'm showing you, because we are now in June, and it's been off and on. I've been going back and forth, which I thought was a unified HOA board, but turns out they're not as unified as I thought, and not everybody was abreast of the situation. Fast forward to now, we are in June, and the update of what has been going on is that my kitchen is still not fixed. And as I am very frustrated with this situation, I am going to give a little context as to what happened. So May 14th, May 13th was a time that it started refluxing, and it just so happened within 24 hours, we were having an HOA meeting, which is a public meeting that everybody can go. And at that point, I chose to air my grievance with them. Immediately after the meeting, the HOA president offered to come to my apartment because he was very apologetic that what was going on. He looked into it and he admitted on the spot, like, yes, we're culpable. He wasn't aware of what was happening from Thanksgiving on, but that he would get it addressed because it was not my fault, and it was something with a communal pipe that was going on that more than likely to be maintained. At that same time, he said that he described what my plumber had told me starting Thanksgiving of 2024, that it just needed to be flushed out. And so when he said it, it just confirmed to me, okay, he knows what's going on. I technically don't have to go through the whole process of accusing them through an attorney. I offered to use my plumber and he agreed. Now, number one, I was comfortable with that because my plumber is so good. But number two, it just shows that either he's just a busy person, which I can understand. He has his own life and he's a president. So he probably saw like, okay, I might as well use this resource. She's saying that he's dependable, blase, swate. Fine. It took me about a week to get everything finalized with my plumber. But I will say there was part of me that was like, you have plumbers, supposedly, you gotta have plumber connections. Why aren't you trying to figure out what's going on your side, as far as like maybe getting a different estimate, seeing if what my plumber offers, whatnot. And I can say, in me thinking that, it's because Miami tends to be a place that I'm very skeptical of. And I say that because when I think of Miami vendors, I think of scammers, I think of non-professional, I think of cutting corners. And I am sorry to say, even though the HOA president and a couple of the HOA board members showed me that they were concerned and they wanted to fix it, I also think they rest on kind of cutting corners if they can. And I say that because the last plumber that they used to actually fix it short term, because they had to snake it at least at my level to make sure it wasn't overflowing. That same plumber is a person that gave me bad advice beforehand. It's the same company, I believe. I still haven't gotten an invoice, which I need to, but I'm pretty sure it's the same company. And it seems like a buddy-buddy relationship. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. And that is the behavior that I hate. And unfortunately, I feel like based on the behavior that the HOA people have showed me and the property management people have showed me, if I am not on top of them, it will not get done, because we are now 2 months past when I brought it up, when it started happening, and the actual root of the problem has not been fixed. And I'm asking myself, is this a good enough? Should I be upset that I had to wait this long? And I think the honest answer is yes. I told them that I would give, I told myself that I would give them 30 days, and here we are at 60 days. I think that's ultimately unacceptable, but I'm also gonna explain like how I'm kind of stuck. So once my plumber gets back to me within a week telling me this is how much it's gonna cost, he gave me an itemized invoice of what was going to be done. I sent all the information to the board and they stated with, okay, that's fine. Maybe a week goes by and I'm like, okay, well, why aren't you setting up plans? And in my mind, I'm thinking it's because they want me to pay first and then they'll try to pay me. And I was like, I do not think you guys understand. I am not paying $1. So in my communicating between the president and myself, I'm like, okay, he has said he is ready. Where is the check? Because I'm not going to have this man come out here and there's no money for him, because then I would have to pay him, and I absolutely would pay him. But since you guys have fixed the short-term problem with the snaking on my unit level, you guys need to do what you need to do. So do you know what he told me? He told me, okay, you're right. I'll get the check. No problem. The check takes long and long and long. It's about another 2 weeks. And then he finally tells me, oh, it's because we have a couple board members that have changed and we need to get their signature registered with the bank so that the checks can be printed. Why don't you lead with that? This is what I'm talking about, like cutting corners, not telling me the complete truth, not being thorough, not being transparent, which makes me think that you're not trustworthy. Okay, so once we get that taken care of, which took about another week, then he sends me a text and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, the checks are on the way. I go to office hours the first time, the check is not there. Wasting my time again, so I'm not calling the plumber. About maybe 3 or 4 days later, he texts me. He was like, okay, Elise, this is how it's gonna go. The check is gonna be there. The maintenance guy needs to be there when your plumber's here. And then once that is done, then he can get paid. As if like they didn't trust my plumber and that he needed to be supervised. And I was like, absolutely, he needs to be supervised. That's not the problem. And I really didn't appreciate the fact that you were acting like he was so shady. When anybody who's being shady, it's the people that you recommended to me that told me that I had to get rid of my garbage disposal, that told me that it was not my problem and gaslit me into thinking it was not their problem, and it gaslit me into thinking it was my problem. And immediately you could see that it was the building's problem. But yet you want to act like my vendor is so dishonest. As much as I didn't appreciate the tone in that message, I went ahead and texted my plumber. You know what my plumber said? He was gone until August 2nd. So ultimately that man has went on his summer vacation, as he should. So then I'm like, all right, well, you took about 8 weeks to get a check, which I don't know how it takes 8 weeks to get a $1,300 check. Now you have to find a vendor, because I'm sure in all of Miami, you can find a plumber, a commercial grade plumber that can do this. Do you guys think that the commercial grade plumber has been made available to me? I texted him earlier today and I'm still waiting on him. Mind you, he could be at work, so it's a little bit after hours. I'm gonna give him more time. You think anybody has been made available to me? It's like, how many people does it take to get a plumber available here in Miami, Florida? How many people? So this is where I'm at the moment, where I think you can understand why now I feel like a sitting duck, because we're in the middle of June and I have a few options. I can get on this man's nerves to the point where I'm emailing him and texting him every day. But there is like a relations aspect that I have to take into account, because we live in the same building. You know what I'm saying? I could get an attorney, but I don't want to get an attorney preemptively and honestly spend $15,000. That $15,000 would have to come either from my savings or my 401k. And it's not going to come from my savings, because again, I've been working so hard to get my savings up, and that $15,000 is going to decrease it drastically. And I don't want to get caught swimming naked if another emergency happens because of something that's going on with my building being negligent with me. So what does that mean I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to take it out of my 401k. Now, I'm grateful I have it to take out of, because then I would really be in trouble. It's not the worst case scenario, because I'm taking from an asset to put it into another asset, because the long game is I'm going to sell this place eventually, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 or 20 years. So the equity will build up. I'm taking one asset to invest in another asset, an appreciating asset at that, but I don't want to do it. My other option is that I can wait until next month, July, and basically cuss them out nicely in my meeting again and shame them and say, hey guys, hey neighbors, it's been 3 months and they still haven't done it. I should not be held responsible for fixing it first. Not when this building has at least a $500,000 budget a year and they get almost $1,000 from me a month. I have done everything I can to, I think, stop water damage. And although the big problem is not fixed, again, that's not on me. But I don't know. That's where I'm at. It sucks. These associations, I'm at a loss of words. But I don't think I need to. I shouldn't have to get an attorney, and I don't know. I don't know where my worst case scenario is, because I think now I have the attention of the HOA enough. Like, if it were to reflood again, like to have an exacerbation, they would get the plumber out here to do it. But it's being reactive and not proactive. I don't really know where to go from here. My kitchen has not overflooded in the last 2 months. I will say I left it very messy up until recently, because I presumed someone was coming and I didn't want to clean it until the whole big problem was done. But I couldn't live in like disarray any longer, so I did go ahead and clean it up to where it was before. But it's very disheartening. It does feel like nobody has your back. You're always going to have your back. And I know that's the norm, but it's just very sad that that is the way it is. It's a very inhumane way to do business, but that's how people are going to be. And I will say that I'm just going to have to wait it out. The good thing is, if I ever sell, I have the records that I can disclose, that I'm comfortable that if I did sell, like, you will know what the issues is. You will know that this HOA know that they are culpable for it. And I'm pretty sure I can get a sale out of it as long as I'm honest. I may have to decrease. I might have to give some sellers concessions. But what used to worry me is that I never had their admitting that they're the problem. I have all of that now for my personal records, and I'll be able to transfer it to an attorney if I need to. There's a part of me that thinks they are going to wait until my plumber comes back. And my plumber be talking so much crap about them. He just doesn't understand why there's so much red tape about it. And I would agree with him. Until then, I'm going to do what I can and be diligent and on the HOA people several times a week, but that's all I can do at this point. And at times it does frustrate me, at times it does make me sad, but this is the hand that I've been given at this point, and I take some moments to deal with it, to feel all the feelings of sadness, the feelings of anger, the feelings of betrayal. And once I sit in those feelings, I compartmentalize it and get on with my life, because there are so many other good things going on in my life, and my home is at minimum clean and safe. It's not the most fixed it can be, but that's where it's at. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for me. One of my neighbors told me to call the code people on them. And I don't know. I might have to do some research on that, because maybe if I call the code people on them, that'll put some fire under their asses. If you have experience with that, let me know in the comments, or of any other resources that I can. If you live in Miami particularly, or you just have experience with HOA relations and begruntled HOA people who are involved, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys next week for another random video about personal finance. Thank you as always for hanging out with me, and I'll see y'all later.